Welcome back with Dr. Warren. Last time we talked about monitoring students in class, and as you can see there's a whole bunch of data there on the page. Well, this time I'm going to talk about automatic grading and instant feedback. See, in the past I wouldn't know whether or not students are doing well until I looked at worksheets or even a quiz a couple weeks later. Now we can set up auto grading, and what you can see here on the form are Flubaroo add-on used for instant grading. Now Google Forms actually gives us an instant grading option, so this is a good contrast to what it used to be and what you can get now. But automatic grading is great because it helps students understand their learning, that it helps them know whether or not they're on track. They can find and see their exercises, and they can compare with their peers. This is very powerful. And for me as an instructor or teacher, I can see whether or not they're learning. Okay? I can see right away, did I explain it clearly? If many of the students didn't do well, I know I need to re-explain something. Now, what kind of questions and what are some best practices? Well, I can, in the 15 minutes of teaching in about an hour class, because it's so interactive, I don't teach that much anymore. I spend more time with the students. And isn't that what we want here? To be more learner-centered. Anyway, what I do is I will add 2 to 3 open-ended, 2 to 3 closed-ended, and 2 to 3 wrap-up type questions. I'll let you see a few examples of those. Here's a question that I like to use, a type of question I should say, and this one is great because it helps students understand their own differences and skills, and that really builds to ownership of the learning. Here's a question that is the group video, where in class they watch the video and then they have a group discussion. The great thing about this video is they can go back and check and see and look at the details while they're having that discussion. It makes much more rich group discussion and results. Next, we move on to learning and engagement. Okay? Because students are different, classes are different, topics are different, there's going to have a big variety of what works and what doesn't. So I have a few things here that I've used in several different situations. And things like monitoring, I monitor, do they understand it? Can they articulate the ideas? You know, are they complete answers? Are they submitting their forms quickly or slowly? That tells me whether or not they're falling behind, or maybe they're just playing around in class. And also, in the past we couldn't assess very well individuality and creativity, these bottom two. Individuality and creativity are great because now we have an opportunity to see how the students can apply the information or how they can synthesize into newer and better solutions. Now, how would we give feedback? Well, similar to any kind of feedback you give. Remember, this is new to them, and often you'll need to remind them to follow the directions. But for the students who need improvement, I go to them individually and I bring my phone along and I show them the results on my device right there. And it's great, very powerful, because they can see what they're doing, and if I need to I can show them comparisons. And I also like to show strong exemplar answers on the board, so I can put them up on the board behind me as a trainer and as a teacher and show them what we're looking for. And I also like to spend a little bit of time in class so they can share their ideas. It makes for very powerful social learning. So what's the value? Well, it helps to give you feedback, it helps give them feedback instantly. You don't have to wait for that 3 weeks for a quiz, and that data, when they see it, it's very compelling. And they can also build that social learning momentum, so they can learn from each other and encourage each other or guide each other. It takes a lot of work off of me as an instructor or teacher. And also, as e-portfolios are really big, that's where I did my initial research. They can gather quite a bit of information for e-portfolio building. Now, the next thing is I like to add a question in training and in classrooms. Now, how can you use what we learned? Then also, I like to, in the classroom, ask a question for the students to write an exam question. This helps to get them in the exam thinking. How would I see this on an exam, or how would this be written on an exam? And for me, I know whether or not they understand, because you can't write an exam question if you don't understand very well. And I get a whole bunch of exam questions that I can use for future exams with a little changing. Or I can actually take the exam question and give it to the students later as a practice exam question. And the final two questions I like to ask are, what did you like best about the learning or valuable? And what would you want to learn a little bit more about next time? So what was confusing or not clear? And that's it for this video. So again, you want to subscribe, right? Or go to my website, cict.co. Again, subscribe, or go to my website, cict.co. And we'll be seeing you on the next video. Thanks a lot. Talk soon.